What up, Oasis people? It's Brennen. I'm back with another Going Deeper. And really over the last couple of days, I've been reflecting on this series we just finished, Secrets of the Kingdom. And I have loved each and every night that we've joined together and we studied God's Word. But I was struck this last couple of days by James 1:22. Just again, it came to me and there it says, do not merely listen to the Word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. And I've noticed in myself and maybe in some of you and just through church congregations that we can develop a bad habit where we will sit and we'll listen to sermons. We maybe even learn about God's Word. We learn about who He is. We learn about what we're supposed to do. But then we lack that last application piece. That we sit and we listen, we learn, but we lack application. And that's a bad habit. So as I've reflected over these last 4 weeks, I just wanted us to come back and go deeper. I want us to keep applying what God's Word has taught us. I don't want us to get stuck in this rut of just learning and never doing, but I need us to go to this place. I want to go to this place where I am deeply applying God's Word. So week 1, we talked about the parable of the sower, probably one of my favorite parables of them all, where we learned that we are supposed to spread seeds. As the farmer, as the sower, that's our job. We spread seeds. So I'm asking, are you still spreading seeds? Are you still inviting people into a relationship with Jesus? Are you still telling people about your story? Are you still trusting God that even when it feels like you've been rejected or even feels like that seed didn't land on fertile soil, that it's up to Him? Your job was to spread seeds. Are you still inviting people to Oasis? Do you still want them to be a part of what God's doing here and being a part of this community? That was week 1. Then we jumped into week 2. We had this awesome journey through the prodigal son story, and we looked at the people who are lost. So maybe you're watching this and you find that you heard that sermon, but you're still lost. The application would be come back to the Father. He wants you. He longs for you. He loves you. Come back to Him. Otherwise, I think these two go hand in hand, week 1 and week 2, because even if we're not the one who's lost, the parable of the sower taught us that we're supposed to be constantly inviting those who are lost back home. So we can look at the prodigal son and we can know that story and it can sink deep into our hearts, and we can go and we can continue to invite people, spread seeds, and invite them home. Week 3, Ben stepped up and he crushed the parables of the hidden treasure and the pearl, where he led us into looking at our priorities. Like, what is important to us? Are we willing to sell everything and go all in on Jesus? That you're at this point of the semester or maybe this point of the fall for your work and you've probably started to settle into some priorities. You're seeing what becomes important to you by how you spend your time. That maybe you haven't made it to Oasis as much, you haven't spent as much time in the Word, you're lacking in prayer, you didn't sign up, or you signed up or you didn't show up for the small group. I don't know what it was, but maybe it's starting to reflect your priorities. That for you, Jesus isn't number 1 right now. And I pray that you come back to this parable and you maybe rewatch Ben's message and you start to apply what God has taught you. If your priorities aren't right, change them. Start to shift your time around so that Jesus becomes number 1. And lastly, we talked about the Good Samaritan this last week. And we looked at how to be a neighbor. That's a beautiful question. That it wasn't about who was a neighbor. It wasn't about even what we do. It was about how are we a neighbor. And we found this place that the answer that Jesus was leading us to was love sacrificially. This is what it meant to be a neighbor, was to love sacrificially. And so over the last 3 to 4 days, have you done that? Have you found someone in your workplace, in your classroom, in your room, with your roommates, in your family, in your friends? Have you found someone and have you loved sacrificially? Because I come back to James 1:22. Do not merely listen to the Word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. So I'm asking Oasis, and I'm challenging myself in this as we go deeper, as we continue to dive in. Can we keep applying what God's asked us to do? Can we keep letting God's Spirit and His Word transform our lives? If we'll do that, oh man, this fall, this year is going to be incredible. Let's not merely listen, let's do. Let's go out there. Let's do it.